How do I pay myself with an LLC? Let's discuss. Disclaimer, I am not your lawyer. I am not your CPA. This is just general education. Let's go to the blackboard. All right, so we have Hal and we have Tiffany. And Hal is hired by Tiffany to do some tile work, but really she's hiring ABC Tile LLC. So let's just kind of discuss how a business transaction happens in real life. So Tiffany hires Hal to do her tile work. Hal is done with the work, and now and Hal needs to get paid now. So does Tiffany just pay Hal directly, or does he put it in his personal checking account? Does he put it in his wallet, and that's the end of it? That could happen, but that is how payment works as a sole proprietor. So if Tiffany pays Hal directly and Hal puts it in his personal checking account or directly into his pocket and spends it without putting it into the business, that is essentially doing business as a sole proprietor. It doesn't matter that Hal has an LLC. He's still not doing business through the LLC. He's doing business directly. So that's an example of how a business transaction happens as a sole proprietor, even if you have an LLC. So hypothetically, Tiffany pays Hal. He puts in his personal checking account. Tiffany is upset with the work, and so she sues Hal, or she sues ABC Tile. Actually, she sues Hal, and Hal says, hey, I have an LLC, you have to sue the business. But a judge might say, hey, you did business as a sole proprietor. You didn't put the money into the business checking account. You put it directly into your own checking account. So that's you acting as a sole proprietor. So that's why it's really, really important to actually do business transactions through the LLC. And a lot of people forget about this. So let's talk about the way this needs to happen. First of all, you need to have a business checking account for the business. So these two entities need to have a relationship. Now, you can do it at the same place that you have your personal checking account. Hal has a personal checking account at this bank, but he needs to go in and say, hey, bankers, I need a new checking account for my business that's separate from my personal checking account. And they do this all the time. So they say, yeah, no problem. We need your state filing documents, we need your EIN, and we need your operating agreement. Those are the three things that bankers are going to want to see to make sure that you are a legal entity in your state. You have an EIN, which means that you can pay your taxes, and you have an operating agreement, which shows that you own more than 25% of the business and can be a signatory on the checks of the business and can move money around. All right, so once we have the bank account set up, let's talk about how a transaction works through an LLC. So same thing happens. Tiffany hires ABC Tile or Hal to do the tile work. Everything's done. She needs to pay him. She pays the business. She puts the money in the ABC Tile LLC's business checking account. Now, where people get stuck here is, how does Hal get paid then? Hal needs to eat. Hal needs to pay his mortgage or his rent. How does the money go from the business to Hal? So what we're going to do is explain that via a check. So the business has checks now. So this is ABC Tile's check, an example of ABC Tile LLC's check. So you're probably familiar, if you're familiar with a check, it doesn't have to be a check. It can be Venmo, Cash App. It really doesn't matter what the mechanism or vehicle is for the payment. What matters is that the business gets paid and the business account is separate from the personal account, and the money goes into the business account, and then the money can go to the owners after that. So in a normal check, we have the information of the owner of the account. Usually this would be, Hal's name if this is his personal checking account. But since this is a business checking account, ABC Tile LLC and their address information is going to be over here instead. And so for Hal to pay himself, for Hal to get money extracted from the business so he can do everyday things like we all need to do, he just writes a check to Hal. And he writes it, let's say we're going to give Hal $1,000. And, now the frequency of the payments or how the payment happens can really be up to the business owner. So this can be per job. This is for job 1, 2, 3. That's fine. Or this can be for per week. You might pay yourself weekly or monthly. It really doesn't matter how frequently or how you decide to pay yourself. What matters is that the money goes from the customer to the business, and then the business to the owner or the contractors or employees. So how does this check work when we have ABC Tile as the business, as the checking account? We're paying Hal, who is authorized to write this check and sign it. Well, the answer is Hal. So Hal just puts his John Hancock right here on the check and says, if this is Hal paying himself. Hal is the signatory on the checking account, so Hal can write himself a check. So that is how a checking account works and how a business pays themselves through, or I'm sorry, how an owner pays themselves through an LLC. If you got value out of this video, please like and subscribe, share it with a friend, or you can visit us at betterlegal.com to learn more or to get a business formation done by us, or you can find us on our social accounts at Better Legal on all the major social networks. Thanks for watching.